Hey guys, welcome to today's upload. Thank you ever so much for tuning in to this very channel and upload. So if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you'll be notified anytime when I do any uploads. Obviously today I'll be talking about Monday Night Raw, what actually happened last night. And first and foremost, I want to start off with a bit of a downer. Last night I was not in the mood to see the world, if you might want to see, because what happened in Liverpool upset me because one of my friends nearly got hit. If she didn't decide to go on the pavement like 5 minutes prior to it all happening, but she saw it in front of her own eyes, it could have been her that was seriously hurt. I don't know how many actually got hurt, but it dumbfounded me when I was in the group conversation towards obviously my friends who I go with conventions. All we heard is "Hope Jess is okay. Is Jess okay? Is Jess okay?" Then she put in the group chat like we couldn't get a hold of her, but then all of a sudden she put in the group chat, "I'm okay." But Jess, I'm glad you're okay, because quite honestly, it literally dumbfounded me how people can be so cruel and rotten. Yes, I know I'm a Manchester United fan. I'm not jealous of Liverpool's success. They deserved that success last season compared to what Manchester United got. Absolute drizzly jack all. But I want to actually say that I'm glad she's okay, because she's a really good friend of mine. She was one of those people that talked to me when I went to the convention, obviously. Checked if I was okay towards certain things and so on. So like jazz. She knows that, and it would have been a different outcome, because it would have been a massive hole in the convention family that I go with. I'm hoping to go next year. I really am. I just want to get Forbidden Door out of the way, and I don't mean that in a bad light. Then I can focus on, obviously, towards that. I'm really hoping I'm going next year. Because I really miss going this year. I miss taking you guys with me when I do my vlogs and so on. And hanging out with my con friends. I don't see that often, like AJWF, Jazz, Lisa, Simon, all the Dans. There's too many Dans in the group. It's only Dans. Rodders, Jimmy Loves Wrestling, etc., etc. I miss that experience, not just with obviously meeting the wrestlers. It's the people that you go with, and if it really upset me yesterday. I just froze on my computer. I didn't know what to say or anything. I needed to sleep on it, even though it happened early in the day, because I actually uploaded a video. But I was filming that in the process, roughly about the same time when all this was happening. It was such an out-of-body experience that you don't realise until you experience it. Like, you just froze. You like, that could have been so much different than it was. What's provoked it to happen? Why did that 53-year-old male do what he did to those fans? What provoked him? Was it a moment of rage? I know it's not terrorism. They've ruled that out. But it's mad to think that someone would do that when people are having fun, celebrating whatever. I don't mean that in a bad light when I say whatever, and then do that to the human race. I don't condone anything like that. Even though, yeah, with wrestling it's fictional violence, you might want to class it as. This, I didn't condone. It still upsets me now that it could have been a different outcome. You know, could it be prevented? Could it have been this? Could it have been that? End of the day, this is not right to do what they did. And that's all I'm saying on the matter. It's just a cowardly act. Whatever provoked it or anything. Like I say, I don't know what provoked it. What was his motive to doing it. But anyway, one thing I want to mention that's really annoyed me to a point. We got the likes of WWE now. WWE now is 100% confirmed with, I know it's in a different state, but it's annoying. It's getting to the point now where it's really, really annoying. Where you literally got Saturday Night Main Event, you got NXT Great American Bash, you've literally got Evolution, right? You're doing all these shows all together on the same weekend as All In. On the same weekend. The thing is, what really annoys me the most is many years, I would say this, that WWE has not had any direct competition, but now they have in AEW. Right? This is not me siding up with AEW. Just get this right in your heads. Right? Since when do you have NXT do their version of a PLE on a Saturday or a Sunday? I don't know which night it's going to go on. It's probably the Sunday. Or is it going to be on the Saturday? You know, why are you doing this? Right? Is because you are scared what AEW are going to do. Right? It's just me being honest. Because now AEW's got All In on the same weekend, granted. But people may think, oh, I'm just making this up. No. I can see what WWE's doing here. They're slowly trying to get people to watch their products more. Oh, I'm here. Same weekend. You know? I can see when it comes to probably next year. You know, you plan to do a wrestling show of the main roster as well while you're at it. Other than, yeah, fair enough, it's an all-women's pay-per-view. I'm not saying it's not a direct competition, but this is why I did the video on Evolution. WWE needs to up their game, their level with the women's division. No way did I think it was going to clash with the same weekend. To me, is this going to be like TNA going to do it on a Friday again? The one thing I never get with that, okay, I'm waiting for TNA to confirm their event on that same weekend. You know, I don't mind watching wrestling, right? It's bad enough when we just say hypothetically, right? This is subliminal for WWE taking over 2 nights every fucking weekend at times. You know, you got SummerSlam 2 nights. You got Now, which starts this year. You got the likes of WrestleMania for 2 nights. Every time I've noticed when AEW confirmed technically their pay-per-view to WWE's PLE, they always decide to put it on the same weekend as of late. Why? I don't mind it, but obviously I know I'm going to choose to watch. You know? It's great we're spoiled for choice on wrestling, don't get me wrong. But the thing is, a massive thing is it's too much. I say with 2 nights of WrestleMania is too much. 2 nights of SummerSlam is going to be too much. I've noticed one thing though, the way AEW do things. They announce dates, don't get me wrong, but then WWE announces it afterwards. When it was let's say hypothetically, if WWE announced dates, do you see AEW deciding to do that? No. They decided to do on World's End last year. the same day as World's End. WWE fans would say, oh no, we don't class as AEW's competition at all. This is why I feel like, don't get me wrong, this is why I'm glad AEW does not have pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view. One, I don't have the money in my pocket. Two, it will literally hinder the product so much to the point where it gets to boiling point when it gets to the likes of, you know, when WWE wants to announce shows, they'll put it on the same weekend. You know, I'm glad they freaking don't. You know, they can't interfere with their TV special episodes. You know, like Summer Blockbuster that's coming up, Fight Fest, they can't interrupt with because it's on a Wednesday night. If all of a sudden you see the likes of NXT going, oh yeah, we're moving to a Wednesday night. Can you see where I'm coming from? So, it's little stuff like that really annoys me at times. You know, I don't mind the spoil for choice on wrestling. But when it interferes with someone that's making money on a pay-per-view for people to tune in, which I'm looking forward to, or something that's going to be aired on Netflix. You know? Obviously, people, that's why I feel like they're going to interfere with it. We'll try to. The thing is, what I want to get onto is obviously Monday Night Raw. Seth Rollins obviously kicked off the show with Big Bronson Reed, and then the Wiseman Paul Heyman, and the Braun Breaker started off the show. It is what it is with that. You know, I'm not being funny, but it's okay. It's not that satisfactory from it, but it just didn't even interest me that much. You know, I'm already sort of losing into the Seth Rollins gimmick. You know, because he didn't need the mouthpiece. I felt like he would give someone else the mouthpiece. You know, I like the way they've done Bronson Reed. I like the way they've done the likes of Braun Breaker. You know, repackaged him, like wearing suits and everything. This is why I says it's an evolution. You know, you got two more powerhouses that are tag teams. But it's a parallel what you're getting on SmackDown already. You know, you got the likes of Solo Sikoa doing the mouthpiece instead of like Seth doing the mouthpiece. You got Paul Heyman doing it. I'm not too fussed, you know, about that. Then you have the Money in the Bank qualifier. Penta versus Dragon Lee versus just Chad Gable. Okay. Don't get me wrong, it was an okay match. So, that's what I mean. It's just, it is what it is. You got to take it on rough with the smooth of that one. You know, because how it is. And when I look at this and I'm like, it was actually a good match, don't get me wrong. Pence got the victory. Does this mean Pence is doing double duty on Money in the Bank weekend? You know, I think he's billed to go on Worlds Collide compared to what he's doing on Money in the Bank. I'm really getting confused there. Or is he or is he not? Because at the end of the day, you got the Lucha Brothers, but it is what it is, I guess. You know, with that one, but don't get me wrong, I feel like, in a way, obviously like Chad Gable, because he's not in the match, he's heading towards, obviously... This is what I don't get with Chad Gable. I'm really getting confused. One minute he's a goofy freaking character for numerous years. Now he's taken as a serious competitor, being one of the flagship wrestlers of the company. You know? I respected him when he was in American Alpha, don't get me wrong, with his tag team partner. I forgot his name, I do apologise, it's been that long. But I did respect him with that, and now they're taking him as a serious competitor to be probably one of the faces of WWE to representing at Worlds Collide, which they are doing. Speaking of Worlds Collide, I've noticed they've took the NXT logo off it now. So they're not bothering with NXT. This is one thing, this is a mess. You know, you've literally got not that long to that event, and now you've taken NXT off the bill. You know, I know cards subject to change. WWE use that quite loosely. Sorry, I'm getting a bit tongue-tied there. But what I'm saying to you guys is, at home, that's a bit unfair. It was bad enough when you literally build the likes of NXT with this TNA with this working relationship, but you didn't include them. Now you're not including NXT. People probably bought the tickets because they was hoping to see the likes of NXT wrestlers there. But by the looks of it, it's only just main roster and AAA, which is pointless in itself. You know, it's just madness. And then you got what went off. It's just... Then we literally got Liv Morgan is backstage statement. One thing I didn't mention last week is you've just promoted Roxanne Perez to the main roster, but you now putting her with the likes of Judgment Day, but your senses split up between that. Then the match literally doesn't make any freaking sense whatsoever. I feel like you look at Tozawa. I feel like he's used as a complete joke as of late, if not within the last few years. The time he was decent was when he was in the Cruiserweight Classic. But you look at the way he's faced Rusev, it was just a random squash match. It literally made no sense whatsoever. You know, it literally made no sense whatsoever. Then the triple threat for the World Tag Team Championships. Was there any build towards this match? But don't get me wrong, it was an okay match. But New Day, basically in the triple threat, we had the Creed brothers, the Viking Warriors, the New Day. Right? The New Day were going to get the win. We all knew that. Speaking of tag team world title matches, or wouldn't it be nice if they literally up the game with Money in the Bank? What I mean by upping the game is to add another stipulation to it. A fatal 4-way tag team match, Money in the Bank. You've done fatal, as far as I can remember, in the past you've done a fatal 4-way tag team ladder match. Where I think it was Armageddon where... I think it was a fatal 4. I could be wrong. Armageddon 2006 where Johnny Nitro busted his nose clean open when Eminem was actually around. Or was it Joey Mercury actually, sorry. But that's what I mean, to up the game towards the Money in the Bank. And we know full well you could have like 2 teams from SmackDown, you could have 2 teams from Raw, at least one thing that will make some shift towards making your tag team titles worth any time and effort now, to add that to it. So that's what I mean. That's what I wouldn't mind at Money in the Bank, you know. First ever, you've done first ever, you know, all the time with, I know this sounds daft to bring up, but it's never daft with me. That I feel where you do first of this, first of that, first of this, first of that, you know, when they were hyping up the women. First ever cage match, first ever Hell in a Cell match, first ever ladder match, first ever Rumble and all this lot. You should technically do the same for the tag team division. That's why I say you do your first ever Money in the Bank for the tag team division. And they can cash on whatever tag team titles they want. Or spice it up a bit as well with Money in the Bank. If they win Money in the Bank, they can cash it in for any title they want, including the world titles. You know, the main event titles. I feel like there's going to be a cash in. I've got a feeling Seth Rollins is going to cash in and win this damn thing. And then cash in on the likes of Jey Uso. I really have that feeling. You know, because at the end of the day, on the same night, by the way. Then we look to Jey Uso doing his usual spiel with Gunther. I'm not being funny. I'm not too fussed about this match going into Money in the Bank. And that's just me being honest. If Jey Uso comes out victory on between Gunther again, that's what I'm feeling what's going to happen with the cash-in. So, Kairi Sane versus Liv Morgan. Didn't mind the match to a point. Could have been a lot better. Lyra's promo. I just want to say this. You know, one thing I do feel sorry for when I say about the women need to up their game. You know, WWE needs to up their game towards with the women's division. It's a prime example that I thought that was match of the night Backlash between Becky Lynch and Lyra, because I was looking forward to that match. And when I see this promo work, what they were doing, don't get me wrong, it was good for Lyra because she had one-liners to come back with quite rapidly. But the one thing that really frustrates me the most when WWE try and change the audio, because you could clearly tell the crowd was not interested in this feud. This is why I feel like doing Evolution pay-per-view, you need to up your game with the women to get them more noticed, to make them swear if possible, like you've done in the past, you know. But the way you literally have done this with the women's division at the moment, I feel like, yes, you are ploughing down women matches down our throats, but the fans are not investing into it. That's the downside and the drawback, that you need to make your fans invested into this product. And the weird thing is when Becky's saying, I'll be the best thing that belt's ever had. The belt's not been around that long. Lyra's the only winner of this title, so it made no sense. You know? But what I'm saying to you guys at home, that if you want to invest your time and effort into the women's division, you need to do it more better than you have. You know? This is living proof. I heard clear as day on the mic. Whilst I was watching Raw, I literally clear as day heard people talking over this. You know? There was only pop, by the sound of it, they weren't even popping to the bits when Becky came out. WWE changed the audio to it. You know? This is why they can't take women's wrestling seriously. You need to make it less scripted than you already are. You need to do... I want to point this out. AEW do it far superior with the women's division. That's why I said on my thoughts towards Double or Nothing, I feel like AEW should deserve a women's tag team division because they're slowly building towards that. You can clearly tell. If WWE wants to go head to head with them, okay, fair enough. AEW's probably got the balls to do a bloody all women's pay-per-view. You know? And that's where they need to create the craft what they are known for. You know? As of late, I don't feel like there's that many people that is invested in the women's division as you may think they are. Because that match was clinic Backlash. That's probably the only match I did like at Backlash. But it's really frustrating when you literally are trying to sell something to get a reaction. When Lyra was doing her one-liners, there was no reaction. I don't think... this is how. But the stipulation is that if Becky wins this, Lyra's got to win it. Raise her arm. Raise her hand while she's... And if Lyra wins, the Becky never challenges her for the belt again. I'm not being funny. I can't tell which way this match is going to go, but I'm hoping in a way Becky wins this so they can do a back and forth feud. To say that what we expect from WWE, they are not delivering on the women's division as yet. That's what I mean, as of yet. You know, I see more reaction with the women's matches on SmackDown. But the catch is, what are you doing with your tag team titles for the women's division? How are you going to elevate that in the shortest space of time towards elevation? Yeah, fair enough, it's in July, but in WWE world, it's not that far away. What are you going to do for your tag team division? What are you going to do for your world title matches? You know, this is where it annoys me. I'm hoping with the women's Money in the Bank match, they're setting feuds towards that pay-per-view. You know, like the similarities where you get feuds build up from the Rumbles. You know, little teasers towards it. Little Easter eggs. You know, I'm hoping you actually get that from that going forward. Then the final match anyway was actually, I hope you understand what I mean. But you look at the Money in the Bank qualifying match. Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. Before that actually happened, like Karrion Kross winding up Sami Zayn. Are they teasing towards Sami Zayn going with Karrion Kross to start his own stable? Or is he going to tease towards him having a match with him when he finally has a match on Raw? All I see from Karrion Kross at the moment is backstage segments, and it's interesting. It's really interesting to see. I felt this main event was good, but yet again, you've got interference that is unnecessary. But yes, the reason why I say this is like Evolution is because I've got a feeling if the likes of Seth Rollins is going to have the championship, he's not going to defend it clean, is he? He's going to play it dirty. You know? But you had like Jey Uso come out to help Sami Zayn. You had the likes of CM Punk attacking, what do you call it? You had the Seth. The one thing that would be making a massive swerve, like I mentioned earlier on, if Seth cashes in on that tag team match between the tag team between obviously John Cena, Logan Paul, etc., etc., etc. I've got the only way I feel like this is necessary for this to continue on is if CM Punk stops Seth Rollins cashing in, knocks him out, and then he fails to cash in, or he cashes in and it's leading towards SummerSlam where you got CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for the title, or you literally, it's so many endings that I'm thinking in my head that will make it better what I feel like WWE is going to do. And that's just saying something. You know, I'm watching it as a fan, not as a person that does reviews in my bedroom at the age of 42. I'm just saying this in general. But overall, not a bad show. A lot better than Saturday Night Main Event, to tell you the truth. But it's still not one of the best. But anyway, I'm off now, guys, and you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you'll be in and updated any time when I do any videos. Until next time, catch you guys later.